I should stop looking forward to things. Rivals won with scoliosis. Hearts, game full of smurfs and toxic people. If you don't know life, you can't have fun. If you don't know life, you can't have fun. Mucho potencial. Poca salsa. No point getting it over the first one.
Wait.
What do I think of Rivals of Aether 2, though? Rivals of Aether 2 is the sequel to Rivals of Aether, a platform fighting game. I first saw Rivals of Aether 2 from YouTube videos on the game and its universe. When I saw these, I thought the game seemed intriguing, which was one of the reasons as to why I first started learning more about the game when it was in beta. Ah yes, back when it was called Rivals 2 before they changed the name. Because they felt like it? Yeah, because they felt like it. Anyways though, in this video, I'll be reflecting on my first real experience playing the game, in addition to giving general thoughts on the game as well as talking a bit about where the game has gone since then, as it has been a bit of time since I played the game for the first time back in October around release. I thought it would give an interesting perspective of the game's developments over time, even if it ends up being a brief summarization. I played the original Rivals of Aether before playing Rivals of Aether 2, and it's quite a change of pace from its predecessor, given that it is a 3D game instead of a 2D, and Rivals of Aether 1 had no ledges, among other things. I learned quite a bit about the Rivals of Aether series since I first started playing Rivals of Aether 1. Basics like how to dash attack, recovering, parrying, air dodging, and some character mechanics, among other things that you don't learn when your only platform fighter experience is casually mashing buttons and spamming annoying moves in Super Smash Bros. For a couple of hours. In addition to the basics, I learned a mechanic or two fairly unique to the series, like hit falling. For those who don't know, hit falling is much like its name refers. Basically, when you go into the air or jump, you have the ability to fall down. If you hit the opposing player with a normal aerial move though, you have the ability to fall down quicker than normally, which gives more potential for a good combo to be performed. That's my brief cliff notes or something like that on it. Now, did I have this skill implemented fully when I began playing Rivals of Aether 2? Well, no. But at least I had the knowledge and maybe implemented it slightly. Specific mechanics like hit falling still exist within the game of Rivals of Aether 2, along with new mechanics to the franchise like shielding, ledges, get-up attacks, grabbing, special get-ups, special grabs, and more. So I had some prior knowledge that carried over from the first game, and a couple things to learn how to do or have a better understanding of going into Rivals of Aether 2. With this in mind, I was ready to play the game. When I played Rivals of Aether 1, I had the goal of getting one win. A difficult task, I know. Not in this game, though. Now that I had a little more time with the Rivals of Aether genre, I wanted to get silver. So when the game released during October, this was my one goal. It was now time to put the work in to getting used to the game so that I could be trained up for the task that remained ahead of me. My first step was choosing a character to play. Since the beloved bear Edlis, whom I played in the first game, was not released yet at the time of launch, I instead used a giant elephant wielding a battle axe as my character of choice. I figured it would do. His name is Loxodont, and he is possibly a bit evil. The story of Loxodont is a mysterious tale. What is known about this giant
battle-axe-wielding elephant.
Though, is he was the right-hand man to Forsburn's father, King Renburn, before he backstabbed him. Perhaps, of course, perhaps he did that. It is not confirmed completely yet. Anyways though, yeah, Loxodont was the Minister of Trade for his nation and right-hand man to Renburn before Renburn's untimely death. When Renburn died, Forsburn was framed for it by a mysterious entity, and Loxodont became the Emperor instead of Zetterburn.
You don't deserve power.
I guess because Zetterburn wasn't of the age for it or something, despite being a war general, which seemed convenient for that to have happened, but yeah. Some people believe Loxodont is the one behind the framing of Forsburn, calling him a
sussy baka
or something. Some say his end goal is still positive. Some people believe it is just mere propaganda and think he is misunderstood. It seems they believe Loxodont did nothing wrong. He ordered someone to go kill Zetterburn, and apparently he did some shit in the future. My guess is he is likely evil and seems extremely sus. I believe he is a crooked mofo, but we'll have to wait and see what the story says, I guess. Anyways though, that's what his lore is saying. What's his gameplay saying? Needless to say, I did not play him because I think he's a cool dude. I chose Loxodont mainly because he's a
giant, big, battle-axe-wielding elephant.
And he has cool gameplay. What can I say, elephants are badass, and I thought his lava and his spicy meatball were very cool mechanics. He launches a meatball or magma bomb that he uses as a projectile. It's quite fun. He gains stacks of lava too by standing on lava created by certain moves he uses. With the stacks he can create an explosion that can help him recover or damage the opponent, or both. Also, he was the closest thing to Edlis for me as a heavy character, so that was good enough. At the time of release, there weren't really many single-player things to do, just a mode called Arcade Mode. So it made it much easier to hop right into ranked. Before doing that though, I did practice with bots, which was not easy for me at first. The bots felt different at first in this game from the original Rivals of Aether. It was almost like they had learned, adapted, even evolved. Then I got more used to the mechanics like ledge specials, grabbing, and shielding, and they were relatively the same in skill. Nothing too out of this world. Don't get me wrong, of course. The bots in both the sequel Rivals of Aether 2 and its predecessor have incomprehensible skill. They have many tactics not even an expert player could comprehend. But yeah, they are not exactly professionals. I played against bots until I got the hang of things, at least as much as I felt I could. Afterwards, I completed my practice by going to training and taking time to let Loxodont meditate and think about his decisions up to this point. One time when I was looking at training mode and testing things, this happened. I don't think it's even a function the developers intended for or even put in the game. I think something just happened with my computer and training mode and it just kind of happened. But yeah, I am gonna make sure to be careful with this in the future so it doesn't happen again. Scary shit. Then it was time to begin my highly esteemed ranked journey. Beginning with my placement matches, a group of 4 different matches set together to determine what rank would be the fit. I could potentially qualify to or beyond silver. This was a golden opportunity for me. In the original Rivals of Aether, you started at the lowest rank, which was bronze. So I never got the chance to try qualifications like this before. This was a new opportunity. My first placement opportunity, I went up against Fleet, the game's Fox character. It started alright, not too bad. I made sure to use my secret technique, the spicy meatball. Nobody else can use this spicy meatball. Nobody other than me uses the spicy meatball. No, only me. So yes, I did that. Let us see how my strategies panned out.
Oh shit, not good. And not again.
So yes, I did not triumph over the Fox. I could claim it was hacks, or that the character was BS and deserved eternal damnation. However, instead I will say it was a valiant effort by my opponent, and I was simply not on the level that person was. I will stay humble instead of swimming in salt. Smile through the pain. Smile through the pain. I got gapped. There was a gap in skill between me and the opposing player even after all of that bot practice and meditation. My second placement... My third placement game, it was here that I was up against a rare foe. I was matched against the creator of the game himself. Ludwig? No. Yes, this was the one where I was matched up against Dan Fornace and I forfeited. Sadly, I did not record it or screenshot it, but it was funny. My mistake was not recording my forfeit to the game. When you play the creator of the game and you forfeit, you should record your forfeit. My mistake. By doing this though, I saved a hardworking developer some time and gave him a free win. Very cool. Assuming it was the real Dan Fornace, of course, I would recommend forfeiting against Dan Fornace. You too could save him some time, and he is a very busy man. This is the optimal strategy, I believe. It will give him more time to work on one of the games of games known as Rivals of Aether 2 in addition to boosting his mood. 10 out of 10, great experience. Would do it again. I remember thinking hopefully my good karma for forfeiting this game would bless me with Edelis joining the roster in the near future. Finally, it was time for my final placement match. My anticipation was pumping, my determination was absolute. I felt ready. It was time. So yeah, I ended up in bronze, which was not too far off from silver, so that was exciting, despite losing my placements. Well, considering my goal at least was to get silver. It's time to go silver. My true journey begins.
Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball!
Yes, I got her. Oh shit.
It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Home run!
You don't deserve power.
I have but one more game to go before I reach the gold, the highly esteemed silver that was incredibly popular with the Rivals of Aether 2 player base at the time. So close to being one of the cool kids, I guess. Or something like that.
Single! Strike! Double! Strike! Triple! Nice batting!
I reached the great silver. At last, the highly esteemed silver. Many dreamed of achieving this place of wonder and joy. Many did, actually. No, seriously, like 48% of the player base was at silver around the beginning of the game. Regardless, this was quite the achievement.
Yay!
I set my goal and I earned it. I actually think I improved quite a bit at platform fighters, even though I am not pro. When I played Rivals of Aether 1 for the first time around, yeah, I got 3-stocked and destroyed many times. A lot of times I felt like it wasn't even close and I couldn't beat my opponent where I was at in terms of skill. Playing this game though, it felt like I got better and things were less one-sided. Maybe since there were more people, maybe I got slightly better, maybe both. Attain your goals, get good, and reach silver. If you are above silver, demote. Yeah though, after reaching silver, I played arcade mode. It was alright. It wasn't a story mode, and it was somewhat short, but it was nice to play and take a break from the demon that is ranked. In arcade, you are tasked with completing several challenges like defeating the enemy. You can choose different difficulties for it too. I beat the Loxodont mode on the average difficulty. Then I was basically done for the moment. That was the last of the game's content for the time being, pretty much. I was a little underwhelmed with the single player content at release, I will say. I felt like it could use more, stuff like tutorials and the story mode. The thing about Aether Studios is they are an indie studio though. They're not a big money AAA studio like Capcom or Nintendo. So yeah, I think it is actually incredibly impressive what they have been able to do considering that. Especially given their budget constraints and how it made them have to release the game without most of their features. Despite needing more features, it's better to have a game than no game. Also, I think it was a good thing they added ranked, even though at times it is pain. There are times I do ask myself, was this the right decision? Particularly when looking online. However, not really, because ranked is important, and it's important for games like these, which is why I wanted to wait at least a year before determining my final decision about the game. Not that I didn't like the game, it was fun and I enjoyed it. The lack of features was one of my only criticisms with the game. They needed more time to cook, and they have. Since launch, they released at least 5 DLC characters for free and more on the way. For free? Yes. For free. They said we're about to one-up Capcom with this sh**. No longer will you have to pay for DLC. We got you. Which means, much like anyone else, I won't have to buy any character DLC unless if a nice man in my email says he needs my banking information and my social security number in order to allow me to access secret, never before seen Rivals of Aether 2 DLC characters. It couldn't possibly be a scam or anything. No, I can't imagine that would be a scam. In all seriousness though, lots of props for how they handled that in terms of their monetization, of course. You may or may not be asking yourself, how are they funding the game then, other than people purchasing the game? Well, let me introduce you to the store. Ah yes, holy microtransactions. Look at this skin. It kind of reminds me of someone. Something about it. Look at this skin, quaking in my boots. This is simply too spooky. The color change, it's very daunting. Even bots would forfeit the game if they saw this. Good thing I didn't go up against any of these skins when I was first going for silver. I would have had to forfeit immediately. This proves monetizable accessories like palettes and skins really do contribute to winning. Yeah though, here's another one. Surely this man would never break spaghetti. There's a lot of things like those skins and they are only adding more. They also have emotes and stuff that aren't skins. Some of the stuff in the store can be purchased just by playing the game, and some requires money. Yeah though, I can understand if someone is not super fond of microtransactions. Especially in some games, microtransactions can be a bit much. But I personally don't have a problem with them having this kind of stuff. They are an indie studio, they have to make money and sustain themselves somehow. Otherwise they won't be operational and won't be able to keep the game going. Another thing that has happened is over time there have been many balancing patches. A lot of important changes to the game. For instance, making it a bit easier to get kills in the game. At the beginning of the game's life, it was a bit difficult for characters to die. They lived for a bit. They also, of course, made other changes like character nerfs and buffs. I don't know what to say about ranked since launch, but I feel like there has been some developments. One thing I can say for sure is I have seen a couple of very interesting posts since the release of the game that may or may not have been triggered due to ranked. I played ranked for a fair amount after launch, but Admittedly, I don't really play ranked much anymore like I used to. I usually play other more casual modes when I boot the game up. Like I said earlier in the video, it could be a demon and pain. And I personally don't feel like I want to deal with that right now. However, I will say, since launch, they've reset ranked a couple of times too. I think I like that personally, keeps things fresh. It may have taken my rank, but I already set my goal and achieved it, and that was what counted. I think they did a good job with their ranked mode. Personally, I preferred the elo system over the character system with these kinds of games. It felt more balanced to me. That's just my opinion though, and I can understand if anyone doesn't feel that way. Speaking of other modes, they have added quite a bit since the release of the game. There is now a lot more for the single player experience than at the beginning. Things like target test, where you break the targets, and edgeguard training, which helps teach someone how to hit the opponent when they are off the platform stage, a skill that helps people get kills. In addition to those, they added a game mode called Eye Break, where you break the monster's eye, or at least hit it. It's a timed thing where you hit as many of the eyes as you can. I think it may help teach better movement and stuff like that. There's also another mode called Bot Match. It's kinda like a gauntlet. You go up against a bot of a different level, and if you win, you increase the bot's level and fight that bot. But if you lose, it decreases the bot's level, making it easier for you to win. Nothing too special, but it's kinda neat. Another thing that was added was tutorials, which is good. They now have much more within the game for someone who doesn't have the knowledge of how to play the game to learn. Though tutorials aren't always necessary, for games like this, it can sometimes be a detriment when people don't have them, and are very beneficial when they do. Like I said earlier, since launch they have had 3 DLC characters. My beloved Edalus released in January. I started playing him over Loxodont. Fornacy listened to my prayers, I guess. Going to him from Loxodont was a much needed change. Playing a nice fluffy polar bear is better than playing a tyrant mofo any day. Loxodont? Nah, now he is Loxodont. Of course, I was playing for the gameplay, but nah. The polar bear is the truth. In April, Aether Studios released Olympia, and in July they released Absa. They also made this guy. Is that a drill mecha dinosaur with a drill that will pierce the heavens? Yes, that is a drill mecha dinosaur with a drill that will pierce the heavens. It brings much joy to me. I knew Dan Fornacy was just a big weeb, as if one of their video entries that was the introduction to the game for a bit wasn't enough to show this already. Of course, it could be someone else in the dev team, but that's my current belief. Regardless, Galvin is cool, and they cooked with him. They also made all characters were well done and great additions to the roster. They also have crew mode. There were probably more changes, but those were just about the ones I caught. All good, I think, and adds more to the game than it had in the beginning. They also plan on adding a workshop mode where you can create stuff like stages in time, a feature that was also in the first game. They have started it with a beta for character creation. In time, they'll add a story mode and more things in general in the future too. They're also gonna launch it on console. I think all of those things are gonna help the game to grow more. From what I can tell, there are more than just smurfs and toxic people who play the game. So I think the community has the opportunity to grow however much it may be. So what do I think of Rivals of Aether 2? Much like the first Rivals of Aether, the characters in the game are very well designed. Though some may be a bit difficult to play against, and can once in a while induce salt. I really like their mechanics. It's a change of pace having stuff like Loxodon's lava and Edelus's ice that change the very environment of the stage. That's something the first one did well, and it's also done really well in this game too. Also, it's very nice to have free DLC characters. And I also find new implementations they made in terms of ledge specials and special grabs and stuff to be interesting. And I think it's a fun set of mechanics to add, even if people can figure out ways to counterplay it. You can really tell how much passion the developers put into this game. I think if any more implementations will be needed, they've got it. They seem to be good at listening to community feedback from my understanding. The only real criticism I have is that it feels like it still needs a little more oomph to get new players to be invested. I feel like its onboarding process could be better. I think they are working on it though, and their implementations will possibly be enough to get more people to stick with the game when it launches on console. I think it is a bit of a shame that some people hate on it for not being Rivals of Aether 1. I see a lot of stuff about it, and I think it's alright to prefer the first one. The first one is a good game. Having a preference is a good thing. That's totally fair. But does the sequel really need to get so much flack online for not being the first game if it's still a serviceable game that is also good? I don't know. I feel it's unnecessary. Either way though, this isn't their review, this is mine. I just wanted to mention that because this game is fairly good, and it doesn't need to be Rivals of Aether 1 to be good. To be fair though, 2D to 3D is a big difference, but I mean, the game is a sequel. I think it's a good thing it is different from its predecessor. Otherwise, it'd be Rivals of Aether 1 remastered essentially. That's why I'm kinda like, when it comes to those kinds of negative reviews. It is valid to not like something. I just think that specific critique is meh to me right now. Anyways though, what I am saying is maybe some other people wouldn't agree, but personally I would give this game a thumbs up. Overall, I had a positive experience with Rivals of Aether 2. It's a good game and seems to be on the road to getting better, which is promising. I'm looking forward to seeing what Aether Studios are going to cook up next. Those are my thoughts basically. Oh yeah, and I still need to get good as per usual with these games. I think I may go talk more about the game if or when they add the story mode features they've been planning, but I think that's gonna do it for my thoughts on Rivals of Aether 2 for this video at least. Feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and if you are interested in hearing about some of my experience in the first game and haven't yet, I have a video I made before this one that you can check out here.